You know how science class can sometimes feel a little disconnected from real life, all textbooks and big abstract ideas? Well, today we're diving into this really cool idea that completely flips that on its head. It's all about turning these huge global problems into local missions. Local hero stuff, really.
I mean, think about it. We all learn about these massive, faraway problems. And hey, saving orangutans? Absolutely. That is super important. But what about the squirrels, in your park? Or the weird moss growing on the trees in your neighborhood? How do we connect the dots between something like palm oil production halfway across the world and what a kid sees right outside their window?
And see, that's really the heart of the problem, right? When you're only talking about these gigantic, planet-sized issues, it can be a lot. It's so easy to feel totally disconnected and honestly, pretty powerless to do anything about it.
So this whole approach we're talking about, it actually started with a lesson exactly like that one. The topic was palm oil. The students, they got it. They understood the science, they understood the impact, but it just felt like it was happening on another planet. And that led to the big question. Okay, so what now? What do we do?
Okay, and this is where everything changes. This model completely flips the script. Instead of just stopping with, oh, that's a big problem, it pivots. It takes all that knowledge and turns it toward local action. The whole goal is to build a bridge between that global issue and your own community, making science something you can actually touch and feel.
And this quote really nails the core idea. It's not about throwing out the big global stuff, not at all. It's about using it like a pair of glasses. You learn about a huge concept, like habitat loss for orangutans, and then you use that same lens to look at the park down the street or that little creek behind the school. Same idea, different scale.
This really captures that whole transformation, doesn't it? We're moving away from students just cramming facts for a test. Suddenly, they're becoming local scientists, they're investigators, they're stewards of their own environment. It's all about empowering them through real, hands-on action.
So you're probably wondering, okay, how does this actually work in a classroom? Well, it all kicks off with a choice. It's like choose your own adventure, but for science. Students get to pick their own mission, something that's actually happening right there in their own community. This flowchart here is basically the mission map. It's the roadmap for their whole journey, and you can see how it lets them tailor the project to what they care about and what their community actually needs. So, are you going to be a wildlife detective solving a local mystery? Or are you going to look into how your town manages its public spaces? That choice, right there, is the launchpad.
So the curriculum gives them two main paths to choose from. Pathway A, that's the local mystery. This is for the nature detectives out there. You're asking questions like, hey, why aren't there as many frogs in the pond as there used to be? Then you've got Pathway B, the land we share. This one's more about civic science. You're looking at things like, how does our town take care of its parks? And could we do it better for the local wildlife? Either way, you're doing real, hands-on science.
All right, so once they've picked their mission, this is not about just writing another book report. No way. They build a real action research plan. And the best part? It takes them out of the classroom and smack dab into the middle of their community.
And the whole process breaks down into 4 really clear steps. First, you get out there and you observe and question. What's going on? Then you investigate and learn. You dig deep. After that, you plan your action. You make a real strategy. And finally, the most awesome part, you go out and make a difference. It's a complete cycle of learning and doing.
Okay, let's zoom in on that investigate and learn phase, because it's super important. This is where students really become researchers. And we're not just talking about Googling things. They learn how to use a bunch of different tools to gather clues, just like a real scientist would.
First up, the most basic tool of all, their own eyes. They get outside, they look around, they're making direct observations, taking notes, snapping photos, just documenting what's really there.
Then yeah, they hit the books. But it's more than that. They're digging into existing research, watching videos, but also, and this is key, they're actually talking to people. They're tapping into the local knowledge from community members who've been there for years and have seen the changes firsthand.
And finally, they gather the hard data, the numbers. This could be anything, really. Maybe they're analyzing population charts, or maybe they're out there taking water samples from a stream, or doing a species count in a specific quadrant. It's all about piecing together the full evidence-based picture.
Okay, so they've done all this amazing research. Now what? What's the payoff? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. This is where the project jumps off the page and into the real world, creating a tangible impact on the community.
And the kinds of projects they do are just incredible. I mean, we're talking about students actually restoring habitats, physically pulling out invasive species, setting up monitoring programs for local biodiversity. They're even communicating with stakeholders and presenting their scientific findings to authentic audiences, like the city council. This is as real-world as it gets.
And let's be super clear here. This isn't a practice run. It's not a simulation. The entire point is for these students to make meaningful, real contributions. They get to stand back and literally see the positive change they've made with their own two hands.
So when you take a step back and look at the big picture, you realize, wow, this is so much bigger than just a science lesson. This is a whole approach to education that's designed to empower students. It's about creating a new generation of people who are not just informed, but are actively engaged citizens.
There's actually a name for this, community action science, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a model where science stops being just another subject in a textbook and it becomes a powerful tool, a tool you can use to understand and actually improve the world right outside your door. And the impact on the students themselves? It's huge. It's massive. They're not just learning facts about ecosystems. They're learning critical life skills, how to investigate a complex problem, how to collaborate with a team, and maybe most importantly, they see that their actions matter. They can make a real, positive change. They walk away with a genuine sense of agency.
So let's just leave you with this question to chew on. Imagine the potential here. What if this wasn't just some special one-off project? What if this was just how science class worked? What if every class ended not with a multiple choice test, but with a community action project? Imagine a generation of kids growing up not just learning about the world, but actively making it better. What kind of world would that be?